Good evening, dandies. Welcome to Undetermined, the podcast.
We cry so much faster now.
Threadbare my green screen is.
I'll have to play with that. I'll put something fucked up behind you.
Well, I think we should just welcome to Undetermined the podcast. Special guest Conan Neutron. Oh, Conan Neutron, the Secret Friends. Yay! Yeah, good to see you. We are
Returning
asking.
champion.
I think you do win. I think
That's right.
easily for number of appearances.
Come at me, bro.
Yeah.
However, lots of new shit going on. So much new shit. We got to meet and hang out in person over Memorial Day weekend. That was great at Caterwaul. I saw how busy you were then, and I said I never want to ask this person to do anything ever again.
Right.
So much as hand me a paperclip or anything, because he's got too much going on.
Yeah. I would say, they say the camera dance 10 pounds. I'm pretty sure you've lost weight since the last time I saw you.
Yeah, and it's it's the most wonderful time of the year, but it really is. But it takes a lot of effort to do it, and that's not when you take into account Conan Neutron, the Secret Friends touring, Action Chief recording, the 10-year anniversary of Protonic Reversal, like all these things that obviously I love it. I'm doing it, but it is a lot of effort, and people ask me how I do it. I'm like, well, I don't think that much about it, I guess, because I think it's like one of those things, if you think too much about it, like, yeah, you're right, that doesn't make sense. How can I do that? And the next thing you can't. So
yeah. So you believe in that with the PMA and the mental block and or like visualizing things, or
I think I'm a bit of a belief engine personally. Like I think it's the kind of thing where it does matter. It's certainly I'm ornery enough with that big raccoon energy that it certainly isn't all I need, or I would not create all these, conjure these things from nothing,
right,
from the void itself, through sheer force of will. But that said, I think it has helped, and it's all done out of love, and that's something I try to remind myself when things get kind of gnarly or annoying.
Right. Yeah. But I can see that for sure. But it's especially, carving out what you're carving out for yourself and doing it independently. God, what a pain in the ass. I mean, you just got back from the studio. I mean,
right.
from the left coast too, all the way out there.
Got back from the studio for the second time in 2 weeks. Different bands, neither of which is my regular band, and fourth time this year, because we finished up the Conan Neutron, the Secret Friends new record in March, and there's actually a secret fourth thing that I can't speak of right now. It's almost like, what was it, Rick Perry had to answer those questions about which organizations he would remove, and he couldn't think of the third one. The secret third thing. Yeah, it's a secret third thing. No, I just can't say anything about it yet, but it's cool. So what you're talking about is the former guest of your show, and mine, the great Australian band Dead. I sat in. There wasn't much sitting involved except for driving, but I on guitar for them for the last bit of their tour, which was lovely. And then we recorded a collaborative. I think it's an EP. It might be long enough to be an LP. I'm not actually sure. Recorded an LP with them, EP with whatever. Tentatively entitled Mundane Apocalypse.
Cool.
That is a half, two songs that sort of like more or less came in from my side. Two songs that were more or less improv, came up with on the spot, and a cool cover song. And I expected that some of the songs I was playing with them might be on this, and that was not in fact the case. They were like, no, let's not do that. I'm like, oh, I've gotten pretty good at playing them. It might be a good idea to do that. No, let's do something new. I'm like, oh, all right.
Right on.
Like, sure. Why not? Why? Yeah. Well, okay. But it's cool. It's interesting. We have, do you know the Plan D record Toshi did? Are you familiar with that? With the,
I'm not sure that I am.
I don't know.
He had all these really awesome drummers that he
Oh,
just
yeah,
brought
yeah,
in and
yeah.
recorded, and he sequenced like synths to them and stuff.
Mhm.
So there's a Plan D track,
Plan D.
a Plan D style track on this record. That's Jem playing drums to that, and then Crover came in and was doing Cocktail Kit second drums as well, and there's some digital things that I was doing over all of that, and then Mindy, who plays in Secret Friends and also plays in
Mhm.
Dale's band, plays in Mod Pods, did some digital djembe on it.
Oh,
So not just
cool.
djembe, like the hippie
Oh,
jam
yeah,
band
the
like
big
thing,
Those sound so fucking cool, though.
They
but it's a
do.
digital djembe. And then there's this Egyptian drum too. I can't remember what the name of it is. That's also a digital thing. So it's pretty wild. It's kind of like if when you think of like, hey, what would that record like that sound like? It kind of sounds like that, like what you would think, and then kind of sounds like something entirely different. But I'm really
Yeah.
excited about it. I really like these songs, and
Oh, yeah.
can't wait to finish them. And then I don't know what we're gonna do with it. I guess
I'm
it's
super
gonna come
excited.
out. We'll see.
I did a little, I made the best little makeshift altar I could.
Yes.
For both of
So,
you
so
guys.
for the audio listeners, we have the Great Dead sticker that tell your mates that you love them.
Mhm.
That's on a plant
On
and
my
then you
fake
have-
plant that is dead.
right.
And, of course, Adult Prom.
Don't Prom, our split LP with Lung. It's on
Yes,
the
yes.
Yes.
the Lung side, but both sides are our 2006 Ford Econoline vans.
Right.
And-
This is Conan's fan.
And mine, yeah, my van
personally,
is the burgundy one, right?
the burgundy. Right? Oh, and I just dropped my
And you have your
Caterwaul.
pass from Caterwaul 2024,
Yeah.
which was a lovely
Just dropped
time.
it on the floor. I just got my frame too for my poster in the mail. That was
Nice.
a Father's Day gift from my mother, so that's very nice. Just
Oh.
getting the poster.
Put a black light on it. Apparently, it has a whole thing.
Oh,
with
I
the
can
black
see that
light.
being really cool with a black light.
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
didn't even know this. I was like, oh, what, really? Oh, okay, cool.
Huh.
Because
Yeah.
that's the thing when you let people, you trust people to kind of work autonomously and do their own thing. It's like, all right, I know something cool is going to happen with this, and it's like, great, that looks awesome. I'm gonna go do this other thing now.
Actually, I'll grab it. It's right here. It's not framed yet. I've got it laid out. But
This is titillating for the audio listeners, by the way. Yeah, I can't wait for more stuff I can't see.
I'm gonna.
Sounds great.
No, we'll
Do you have a black light, John?
We'll have it transcribed. I do
Oh,
not.
yeah, let's get a
As
black
Grace
light on
knows.
the audio. Yeah, great.
that'll help.
it's
But I mean, what
great.
an awesome piece of artwork, really. If you can see it, and it's just an excuse to go to our YouTube and watch the video anyway.
There you go.
But
Pushing that YouTube.
Oh, the crazy cat artwork. Tell us about the design a little bit, because it's just a kick-ass poster.
Yeah, once again, I had nothing to do with it. So,
Mhm.
it's we've had a different artist kind of just do the poster every year
Mhm.
and more or less, quote unquote, do their thing with it.
Right on.
And that's something where that has led to each year having a unique feel to what's happening with the poster.
Mhm.
Dale Flatham from Staple Bathtub did last year.
Wow.
And then 2022 was that Chris Williams from Plastic Flame who did the poster, and everyone has their own kind of cool thing for it. And so this is a Burlesque North America is the name of the design company, and it's more of a Ryanair thing. He kind of brought them in, but I love what they did.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
absolutely.
a cool poster.
Awesome.
But they're like Twin Cities graffiti dudes that basically started a creative studio, and their stuff's kind of all over the place, but like in a good way. Like you can get like, stuff that looks like stormtroopers, but like propaganda posters,
Right.
stuff like that.
Right.
Like that kind of like. It's usually very colorful, but it's one of the reasons why we like, as much as it's great to have a unified design aesthetic for stuff, it's kind of nice to. Each year has its own timbre and own sort of feel. And so we have these unique images that get to represent that. I think that's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It was our first time that we've ever really, well, I don't know, Matt, you spent maybe more time in Minneapolis than I
I've
did.
passed through and gone to the Mall of America. That's about it.
That's about it. Yeah. That's pretty much it for me too. I couldn't believe really how close I lived to there. Much closer when I was younger. We just never went anywhere when I was a kid. But,
no, it's great that it's in Minneapolis. Since we're bringing it up, I don't want to give the credit to Minneapolis. The credit should be given to Caterwaul, which is something that we're basically terraforming the planet every time.
Mhm.
But Minneapolis is a great place to have it. It's a friend to loud, crazy, weird, noisy music. So which is nice. As far as cities go, you could do a hell of a lot worse.
Yeah. We had some local friends that were like Palmer's, so.
Yeah.
Oh
Palmer's
yeah.
is-
A lot of
Palmer's
cases
is cool, but the
there.
credit should not go to Palmer's. The credit, if credit is given,
It goes
should go
to
to us because
Caterwaul.
we can do this literally anywhere. But that's again, I get weird chips on my shoulder about things like that because it's like it's not really a local thing,
Right.
You know,
It just
like
happens there.
It happens there. And it's a great place for it to happen, but I think there's a distinct difference, and I'm not sure that's immediately understandable. It's a representation of a community that isn't just nationwide but worldwide.
Right. Well, I mean, that's represented just in the fact of us coming all the way up there.
Sure.
And, and so meeting so many people from so many places. But it's still cool that, it's at least localized kind of around us and it's not in Oakland. Or something like that.
Yeah.
This shit usually
It is within driving distance.
Yeah.
As a former Oakland resident of 22 years, I can verify.
Right. Yeah. It's like
there's a lot of stuff where it's like, wow, I wish people that like are friends of mine that don't live near here could experience it.
Right. Yeah. Kevin Seal says hi, by the way. But yeah, it was funny. He was like, or it was Chris was like posting some stuff in like a group or messaging. He was like, hey, the show's going on, tomorrow night and somewhere in San Francisco. And Kevin's like, yeah, I don't think John and Matt can make it. And he's like, oops, wrong thread. And I was like, yeah, you're just rubbing it in. But yeah, I looked at like that Jesus Lizard tour, and it's like, yes, they are running on water across the Mississippi and Ohio as fast as they can. Just
right.
To get away from here and play just the coasts. So that's nice. But yeah, the sense of community, it was really awesome. I haven't felt that in a while, of going somewhere and just feeling like I was home. I was amongst my people.
Right. Yeah.
Totally. I haven't had that vibe probably since I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
Like you sit there, on an average day feeling like you're the freak, right? You're the aberration. You're the thing that is not the same as the rest of the world. And then suddenly you're around all the other people that feel exactly the same way. And it's a glorious thing. It's a glorious feeling.
I think I told you, like, I was kind of afraid coming back that my wife was going to think I joined a cult. Because
suddenly you got all these new phrases and names that you're speaking the name of. Yeah,
we were all on the same page, and everybody was just there to appreciate each other, and
yeah, it felt like Lollapalooza did to me in '92. When I was a kid and living in the middle of nowhere, Midwest, and then showing up to an army of people that were like me. When in our town there was maybe a handful of them, but it was cool to see that everybody was digging it. And, it's a big misconception that there's a lot of snobbery and snuff in this, sort of genre of music, if you want to call it that. But no, I mean, everybody was so cool and nice. We made so many connections with people, talking to people. So, thank you for putting that together, man.
Man. Third year, happy to do it. And like I always like to characterize it that it's like there's always like in any city there's that person of that town that's like, oh, that's the person that like they make all the cool stuff happens, and it's so cool. This is just like a meeting of all those people in the same place, more or less, and we get to do something special and cool to each other, and part of that reason why it's good is because we play these kinds of things all the time, and we know what makes them annoying. we know what makes them memorable in a good way, and we try to not do any of the annoying things and keep the focus on something that is a celebration that isn't just utterly destructive to the pocketbook, and not just out to extract resources from the attendee or from the performer, but provide a real service to have people connect with their honest and true audiences, even just for one day for the year. Can't remind you why you do it, and don't take it lightly. And we put a lot of effort into it to make it that way. It's not something that happens by accident, and people put focus on all the wrong things, frankly. But like we think a lot about it.
I felt like so, and we didn't get to talk a whole lot because you were busy.
Not shocking,
for sure,
right?
But
other than the 33 minutes that we play, like that's my world for that weekend.
And I say that to say I still felt like I knew you better after that.
No, yeah,
Like
yeah.
I
Every
had a
time you
better
saw
idea
us,
of
it's
who
like
Conan was.
you made sure to stop and check on us. And be sure, okay, I was like, dude,
Yeah.
get back to work.
Well, and
You're
just
fine.
the
We got,
whole
you
atmosphere
guys
is
having
just
fun?
like,
Yeah,
okay, this
yeah,
is who he is. This is what he's doing.
yeah.
I can see like this has to come from a specific sort of place.
Sure.
Yeah, it's one of the things I do, right? I mean, what I do
Yeah,
is I'm an artist.
exactly.
I'm an artist.
Mhm.
Like my band is my life's work, and that's something that like people maybe because I don't talk about every single day about how I miss being on tour and this and that and band stuff. Maybe it may not seem that way. That is what my main thing is. Now,
Right.
what I'm able to do with this, with Melanie and Reiner, is able to create a place for people that also feel that way to not only be able to play to others, but for people that are feel deeply about this kind of stuff that don't play in bands get to have a home for a
Absolutely.
short period of time. And it sucks that I'm in active competition with myself all the time. Right? There's
Yeah.
people that all they want to talk about is the podcast. Great, I love talking about the podcast.
Mhm.
You know
I
that's
don't want to
fine.
talk about that right.
Yeah, but like that's not that's not what we're doing right now.
Right.
But I do, it's worth talking
Exactly.
about.
Yeah,
But
I
I
know
think
what
that
you
like
mean. Yeah.
we're getting back into like a monoculture of duocracy. I think that people like you can only be, oh, that's so and so from this thing.
Right. Yeah.
And then if you do other things, you're a dilettante. I am not a dilettante.
No.
And I'm not
no.
trying to like say that I'm the master of anything, right? But I am not a dilettante.
I would defend you
Mhm.
on that 100%.
I put my heart and soul into everything I do, and whether the results of that match up to something that meets people's sensibilities is not for me to say. But
Yeah.
there's no half-ass in it.
Yeah.
No.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not in my. It's not in my crayon box.
Right. And I think that's important too, just for self-identity with myself. It's like I know of things that I dabble in for sure, and I make sure to tell people that's what I dabble. That's what I play with. That's
Mhm.
not. And I guess just this. I got aside from my job. I'm a teacher for sure,
Right.
first and foremost. I think, but as far as what I really love to do is this, having conversations with people. I don't know if
But we don't always get to do everything we want to do all
Right.
the time, right? And so,
Sure.
what do you do in the rest of that time? Well, are
Right.
you sitting around like a robot waiting to be activated? Probably not.
No.
And it's.
Well, and
I don't know. We put a focused society on all the wrong things.
Sure,
Like
sure.
we think of art as just something that's like extra, and it's not extra. It's vital to
It is absolutely.
existence.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And I don't
And
think people
it's
get
also
it. Yeah, it's hard to get people to get it. If they get it, they get it.
Yeah.
And if they don't get it, it is really fucking hard to convey that to them how important it is.
It's like when people will always say, and I'll let you talk eventually, Sean.
Okay. Go ahead.
Like people say, like I go on tour, oh hey, have fun. I'm like, cool, I will, but it is work, and it's also a calling, and like it's not just I'm like doing. It's not the equivalent of playing golf necessarily.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like as much as like no shade to people who play golf, but like it hits differently, and I always am annoyed that the pursuit of your craft as a musician is somehow seen as, oh, that's a fun thing you do.
Right.
Well, hopefully it is fun. Yes.
Mhm.
But it's not done
But it's not
exclusively
all
for purposes
fun.
of fun. Right.
Yeah.
It is a calling, and it is something that many of us are driven to do. No one is forcing us to do this, but you're doing it because we have something to say, we have something we're trying to accomplish, etc. And there's a middle ground between that where it can be taken seriously, but not taken so seriously that it's like annoying and that kind of pretentious thing
Right.
that, you're talking about earlier. But there is a degree of importance that can be for people's lives. It's a big deal for a small to medium sized group of people. Is it better to be a big deal to a small medium sized group of people than like a small deal to like gigantic group of people? Well, those are very different things.
Right.
If Coachella goes away, I'm sure people would be sad. Maybe. But like, how sad would they be? I mean, something else would pop up and take its place immediately with other
exactly.
corporate sponsors, and they would have more bands I don't care about that are playing. But if Caterwaul went away, people would be devastated.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to like overinflate it. I'm just saying that like because there's so few of these kinds of things
Right.
that exist, there should be way more. That something that's coming from the heart and has that intensity to it and is doing so in such a way to provide value to people's lives, as well as be the best representation musically of this style and type of art is kind of rare.
Right.
And especially rare for people not just trying to extract as much money as
Well,
humanly
yeah.
possible. Everybody involved.
Yeah, because that was the kind of the dark side of Lollapalooza, wasn't it? It was just like,
Yeah.
how do you line up that corporate element to make that kind of money without getting that sort of influence? But it's also not. I mean, I think all of the bands that were selected, when you look at them as an amalgam, they weren't like. It's not a niche thing necessarily. There were all sorts of ranges, and we had that discussion a little bit, but I know it's an exhausted conversation anyway about genre, and it's just like it's different, it's experimental, it's something that's in a lot of cases heavier, not always. I mean, you look at like the Isolation Tank Ensemble you had there, good example of just something might be a little off kilter for some, but not necessarily a heavy band.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and we saw just the range of people. It's not just,
Right.
old, chubby hipsters like me and Matt. There was young people
with
and
black
older
shirts and
people.
beards, and
Right.
although those are
Yeah.
very well represented,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, but it's not just that.
Yeah, we did say there's a lot of pussy t-shirts around here. Even I was wearing my pussy Gillette shirt. There's a lot of moon pussy shirts, a mannequin pussy shirt.
Sure.
So there's
Some
that.
of them have women in it too. It's
Sure,
crazy.
absolutely. No, it's not that there was any,
Right.
No, but I think
lack of
that
diversity.
goes back to the is it noise rock? No. Because I feel
No.
that anytime you put any term on anything, it immediately reduces it and belittles it and makes it smaller. And so for me, I say no because I find that term to be reductive and it means something entirely different than it did 20 years ago or 30 years ago.
Right.
And we take great pains, especially me, to sort of bristle against that because it's again, if you're in a position where you need the cultural shorthand to explain someone that only listens to like hip hop and rap, okay, great, fine. But if you're talking about from a perspective of like the music listener that's come from an informed place, it's reductive.
Yeah,
because there are things that are noise rock fest, and that's fine. I don't even play noise rock music.
Right.
I would be if it was a noise rock festival, I would be an outlier at my own gathering.
I wouldn't consider it at all.
So that reminds me,
looking like a Ganser or Porcelain or whatever, who are on the same bill as like Power Takeoff and Part Chimp and Brainiac and again Isolation Tank Ensemble. Like there's a corollary to all of it. It's not for me to figure out. Somebody says like, oh, she's called Caterwaul music. I'm like, great.
I think that's great.
So
I'm in. Make the sticker, make the shirt, make the leader card in your local record store. I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Is that going to catch on? Probably not. It's just it's the most idiotic thing usually is what catches on, right? So.
Yeah.
We talked about like the difference between specifically like Heat Death and Murph. Like he had brought that up with me. They're both punk, but they're very different punks. And kind of I reflected on that for a bit, and I was like, how do I compare these two without like bringing in other bands? Because that doesn't seem fair to me.
Right.
The best I could come up with was almost like a old Sam Raimi versus like a George Miller.
Oh, cool. I like that. No, that's awesome. Because they both have their own ethos and kind of built language and world, but like you can do a double feature of both those movies and it's like this completely makes sense.
Absolutely.
Right? No, that's awesome. And I wish that more people kind of thought about things that way. Because I don't know what it is about music, but people just have to put it into a box immediately.
Yeah.
And then oh no, it got outside that box. Oh no.
Yeah.
I would absolutely like go to a film showing with both of those.
Yeah, throw a couple directors at people though, and they're still not going to know. Well, the person who needs the category isn't going to know what you're talking about anyway.
Well, and part of that's just if you make it too easy to find, then no one's going to think it's anything of value anyway, which is in a annoying modern construct. But there we are.
Still a couple of amazing bands. Every band he had was just amazing. We were so sad that we had to leave 2 days early.
Yeah.
But
you got 2 days better than 0 days.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Take any time. And it's just the thing overall for me it's one of those things, folks, as far as next year goes, somebody will tell you don't know what you're missing. And in this case, you really don't.
You don't.
People say that a lot about a lot of things, right? Like, this streaming show, you don't know what you're missing. I saw it was fine. It was all right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It was solidly okay. But
Yeah.
like, no, in this case, it's hard to, there needs to be a sense of scope and scale for things for something like this, where it's like, no, this is something special.
But I
Mhm.
think it's something you have to witness it to really appreciate it too.
Absolutely.
Apparently. You guys will be a better judge of it than I am.
No, I mean, I remember thinking that sounds cool.
He's running
I
back and
don't
forth
think
between
it
mixers and
registered.
taples, and yeah,
But I being there in
different
person,
perspective.
yeah, I felt it more.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, speaking of that, I guess aside from the mystery project, you can't talk about, so I'll keep bringing
Right,
up.
I mean, it's, you're when you find out what it is, like, oh, that's the thing he was talking about. But I'm not
yeah,
going to
probably.
say,
Okay.
not gonna say anything about it until it's done.
Okay.
Sorry, that's
Fair enough.
something. I got a beta hook to get myself invited back on for the.
Oh, you're always invited for sure.
I know.
And if it's what I think it is, yay!
What have so with all that you've been working on? What have you been putting the most writing into?
So, Way of the Neutron, which is the new Conan Neutron Secret Friends record, it was pretty much written, like the last bits of it were written in 2023. So that was just sort of like recording all of that, and then like, okay, cool, this is a statement record. This is the thing, but like not much in the way of writing for that,
Yeah.
right? Because it was just like, okay, we got to get all this down. We got it down. It's exactly the way we want it to be. It is a Secret Friends record that has the most time has been spent on. Sort of not even just writing and rewriting, but more like, hey, let's try this sound. And I think because of that, look, every artist says that their new record is the best thing they've ever done.
Right?
If you're not saying that, what are you even doing? I am telling you, this is the best record. Not only Secret Friends has ever done, I think it's the best record I've ever done personally. So that's how high of a bar I've now set.
It's a bold
for
statement.
the future, but and it's entirely possible. People might disagree, but the people that have heard it so far are like, "Wow, this is really fantastic." So I feel really good about that. But we spent more time on it than normal. But as far as writing goes, that was more or less done. The new Action Chief record that we just recorded electrical audio, sans Steve Albini with Mike Lust.
What's the vibe there, man?
Yeah,
it's cool. I mean, it's a little bit somber, but like it's kind of. I love that they're keeping the studio going and keeping it working. I think that's important. That's what he would have wanted.
Mm-hmm.
We were always going to record with Mike Lust, so it was one of those things where actually a band he plays in called Ills opened our show with Part Shimp and our Grey Noise Quintet, and he was like, "Hey, we're still doing that, right?" I'm like, "Oh yes, we are, absolutely." And that's Action Chief. I love Action Chief. That's a band that I just do like crazy guitar stuff and like weird arrangements and stuff like that. So that's a specific kind of writing. I'm not worried about the lyrics.
And
some of those songs kind of existed beforehand and just kind of were rejiggered and put into the meat grinder or whatever. So there's some writing arrangement there. All the stuff with Dead, I wrote 2 songs for this, knowing that we were just going to do a thing. And so I wrote 2 songs that were just like, I think this would be good for us to work on together. And I didn't think about them at all for like 2 months. And to the point that when I listen back, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about this. Right. But those went great. That was awesome. They did everything they were supposed to do. And then I would say 2 of the other songs that we did were more or less written in the studio, which is always kind of like, there's a part of me that's like, oh, don't do that. But like it worked out great, and then I got new Secret Friends stuff that's for a new thing after the record that isn't out yet. I got these 2 songs for that are pretty killer. And so that's at some point we'll probably work on that. And then there's more Action Chief as well. We decided we'd rather do 4 songs well rather than 6 songs poorly.
Yeah, well, and I was wondering about that too, because it's like I've been talking. So many people are going back to the studio; they're getting back on the road, everything post pandemic, and we're getting back to it. And it's like, for different people, I mean, some people are like, "Leave me alone, I'm writing." Other people are like, "Yeah, I want to get out and talk about it," and they're super excited. And both are completely acceptable and understandable ways to look at it. But I was just thinking, like, what's the big thing that's just kind of, what do you think was like, okay, this is the thing that's got to get me back into recording, into writing, into
Get me back in the game, man.
Back in the game. What was the final?
I'm always in this game, bitch.
Right. I mean, what's the final kick in the ass? It was just like, okay, now, not just the all clear, but you know what I mean?
So I feel like, and some bands I know, they'll go through like, okay, we're just playing now, and now we're going to write, and then we're going to call and arrange and whatever. And
that's not you.
Cool. No, it's more or less a constant process, and when inspiration strikes, I do my best to follow up on it, even if it's just like leave an audio recording from myself that hopefully I can decode, like with the Enigma machine later on to figure out what the Sam Hill I was on about. And then that's and that can work well. Like there was a song. So not to tell tales out of school, the EPA or LP, I don't know which one it is, I did with Dead. There was a song, one of theirs I thought we were doing, and again they were just like, nah. Oh, okay.
Okay.
So that morning, I cobbled together two things that were originally Secret Friends. I was like, "Oh, that's a cool kind of A/B thing." And then another thing that was like, "Oh, this is a really cool outro that has never made sense on anything." And I was like, "Well, what if we just find a way to get from there to there? If we can find a way to get from there to there, both these things are really good, and I've had them sitting around for like 5-6 years, something along those lines, and I think they should be used." But if we can just find a way to get here, then it would work. And we did. And so like, that was the perfect example of like, look, that's stuff that like, I know exists. Remember it. If I can remember it, usually means it's pretty good. Like the real test is if a song is like in my head. If I wake up and I hear the song in my head, like Who Dares on the new one, the new one, the one that isn't out yet. Like we've been playing that live, and that one always like I'll wake up and it's like in my head, and I'll be like, fuck, that must be a good song, because like it's constantly just on repeat in my internal playlist. Which one? I don't know. I mean, like you just do, you don't. I'm not really, I know it's hilarious because I talked about 3 things I was doing and a secret 4th thing I can't talk about. I'm not really a side project guy. I'm usually constantly in the Neutron Friends Heavy Industries think tank, thinking of stuff. And a lot of it never sees the light of day, and it doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it just wasn't as good as the rest of it. And sometimes, and this is something I learned from Buzz, sometimes you just come back to things later. Yeah. And like you can solve the problem, or you can hear things that weren't there, and you can, perfect example, those two things I had that ended up being one of the songs on the Mundane Apocalypse record is that I was like, this is great. I wish it could have some cohesion. I wish there was a way that like it wasn't just clearly, hey, here's 3 things. And it's like, cool, those are really awesome 3 things, but this isn't a song necessarily. And
it is crazy though. I mean, I think that applies to a lot of things. Just sometimes just taking a breath, taking a step away from something, being distracted, and it's like, I just, my brain needed to reset.
It just comes to you, right? And that's where I think it's more about divine perspiration than divine inspiration, personally. But there is something to be said for that. That especially when you're just down in it, when you're just going, that a different part of your mind can have the solution, but there's too much chaos for it to answer necessarily. And so part of that's trusting yourself, of knowing, like literally just, I told those guys, it was like, oh yeah, I don't know how we're going to get from here to there, but we will figure it out when it becomes time to do it. And we did. And I had there was absolute certainty in my mind that we would.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't just because like those guys are wildly creative on their own. I was like, no, it, like whatever we come up with, it will be really good. I just couldn't even tell you what that sounds like now. I have no idea. And I don't care, because we'll figure it out when the time comes.
Yeah.
Because apparently we're not doing Australian Redneck, which I had a really sick harmony lead for, but whatever. It's not a big deal.
I like the name already, Australian Redneck.
Yeah. They I don't know. Talk to them. They have it. They didn't want to do it. So, okay. But I mean, that said, writing music is different than recording music, which is different than performing music. Like I've talked before to you guys about how we have songs that are on records that I love, and I'm like, I don't have any interest in playing that live. Whatever, just listen to the record. It's fine. There's a big chanting crowd that wants it. Okay, maybe that's a different thing. But there isn't. There is not those right. That I'm aware of. It's happened in the past. Like there's been songs where it's like, yeah, that one. That's the one.
You got a request? Who's this?
That one? For real? Okay.
Which song is that then? Which is
Fight
that
Math.
one?
I thought Fight Math was completely disposable on the first
Oh,
one.
really? Huh.
Yeah, I was like, oh, cool. We cobbled together these two riffs and had my friend Eugene sing on it.
Huh.
That's great. That's better than the other song we were doing, which was Going Nowhere Slow, and it was an outlier because of that. And then it's like everyone's favorite song in that record. We played it tons live. We've retired it. We brought it back. We played it live. We've retired it. We brought it back. And it's I really like it. It's just I get kind of bummed out by it too.
Yeah.
And there's songs that you think are going to be like, oh, this one will be the all-time banger. This is going to be the one that everyone loses their mind for. You play it and people are like, yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
No, but it's the all-time banger of all time. You don't understand. So you can like sit there and be like, no, it's the children that are wrong. Or you can course correct and be like, all right, well, damn. That sucks, but it's what it is. I mean, I feel like every record we do, I feel like there's always one song I'm like, yeah, that one kills. And I'm always right about it. Like Wild Antics for the Adult Prom LP, I was like, this owns. This is a great song. Commuter for Dangerous Nomenclature, this owns. Impossible Task, Dark Passengers, great. This owns. Protons and Electrons, I was like, Litany and Grievance is like one of my favorite songs I've ever written. I just love the way it all fits together. That owns. Art of Murder, Quid Pro Quo is just like a fantastic, well-written song. And Chesapeake's like, I'll play this riff for forever and ever, every night of my life, and I will be stoked about it.
Yeah.
In that way, I feel like Who Dares on the new record is like, I'll never get tired of playing this. I feel like this is going to do very well. I feel like there's always something, and it's usually a riff rocker that I can call correctly. And there's at least one I'm like, everyone's going to lose their minds for this, and they don't. And there's one that I just really didn't think about that people are like, oh,
that one? Yeah. Well, yeah, and you don't really think people don't often think about how just even like the production too on a track, they just can affect that in the mind's play. I mean, you look at like what Lisa was talking about, like the second Toadies record and stuff, just with the being just strung out by the record execs and everything, it just being a nightmare, and the whole it's just like those songs just brought back that sort of feeling, regardless of how good they were, or regardless of how and I can definitely see that.
I mean, there's a few Dark Passenger songs that we play live, like we play Starting Position, Impossible Task pretty regularly in the set, of which I both love them, but I have not been in the mood to play the title track for a while.
Yeah.
And I love that song. That song
Right,
is great.
No,
I have not felt like playing it. And that's that's what happens when you write a record about depression and mental health. Sometimes you're like, I don't feel like going to that place right now.
No, I don't blame you, man.
Right.
Yeah. And that's, I feel okay about that. And luckily we're a band with just entering year 10, like with a deep catalog that there's no shortage of songs to play.
Well, and sometimes, with that sort of subject matter, I mean, you get it out there so you don't have to keep going there,
Right. And whenever we do play it next, and I'm sure it'll be awesome and cathartic and cool, but it's not where I'm at right now. I mean, but I also got to understand that like where I am at right now is the record that like whatever, like less than a dozen people have heard. that is not even mastered yet, where I'm like I was talking to Tony. I was like, look, if we just played songs from this for forever, I would be totally okay. Like I would be like, we're doing great. And I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but that's how stoked on it we are.
Yeah.
But that I'm there and everyone else is like, maybe, oh yeah, they have a new thing. I think it's a split with lung, like which it came out last year, right? Last year,
right? Yeah.
Last fall.
Oh yeah. Last year.
I think so.
Last year,
But it's like that's been we recorded the last song, the lung cover we recorded that spring, but everything else like goes back like Christ. We were Wolves 2019.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and it's great. I'm glad to see the light of day, and I'm glad for people to connect to it. I think that's a great split release that does the thing a split release should, which is introduce the respective band's audiences to the other band's weirdness, and but yeah, you move on as an artist, and then like where you're at is not going to be where the audience is at yet, and that's part of the fun, frankly.
That's better for everyone.
Yeah, it should be. If the audience is ahead of the artist, something went terribly wrong.
Right. Yeah.
Like that's bad.
Yeah. Those are usually the records I don't like, or the ones
Yeah,
where
exactly. They're usually not exciting.
And that's just the thing. I talk to people about it's not that I dislike genre. I just like things that are, formulaic and things that are boring and things like, and I know exactly where that chord progression's going. I've heard this before. And that's not that it's a bad thing. I mean, it's okay if I've had, 6 beers and I'm,
we all like to warm up some Velveeta.
Absolutely.
Right? Listen, oh man, is it cheese? It is not, but we know what it is. Real good.
Right? Exactly. Yeah.
Is it food? No, it isn't.
Yeah, I got plenty of pop bones in my body, but it's just not my go-to. It doesn't.
Right. And if it is, then like you're definitely a type of music listener than anyone that I vibe with. That's for sure.
Right.
Because there are like rock bands that like put out rock records. I'm like, this is boring, and you have to pay me to listen to it.
Right.
And people I know, like it's weird because as the artist, I don't think of it that way, but I think Conan Neutron, The Secret Friends plays well to a less discerning rock crowd. Just because of the sort of like the bombastic nature of it, the grandeur of it, the show aspect of it, that like it comes off as maybe less academic than it is, which is great. But when I'm listening to quote unquote rock music, like most of, I can't remember the last good, like just unadulterated rock record I've really been into. Tilts, maybe, I don't know. Like, and that's like. But that's because it's not a genre that people try to innovate in for whatever reason. Like if you do, it's like some subgenre. It's like, post rock or post
dance punk,
right? This and that, and even then, there's very little innovation because they're not because people are rewarded for things that they already know, not for things that are different.
Right? Yeah.
Thank you for my TED Talk. Anyway,
no, it's an interesting thing though. Like I do kind of feel bad for newer artists because how do you categorize your shit sometimes? Because you don't want to sound like it's the old thing, even though, I think I would confuse a lot of current artists that I really like. If I didn't know that they were current, I would think maybe they came out in 93, 95, sometimes.
Because they sound exactly like that thing, right? Because they're excited about that thing. And they're trying to engage with it. In some cases, maybe that artist in question isn't even around anymore or not doing that. And I suppose there's more patience for that now than there ever was in the past. But like it's the same thing it is for the show as it is for my band, which is that like, oh, how do you get to where you're at? As if I'm somewhere enviable, right? But it's like, well, be me.
Yeah.
Have my lived experience. Be in this for almost 25 years, constantly recording and making music and touring and being a part of this community that you give back to as much as possible. You would have to literally be me.
Right. Yeah.
Like my path for you is not something that you could ever or should try to emulate. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't be the same. No. In that same way that like, well, why is Protonic Reversal as a show good? Well, because when I started, there literally was no other show like it. And now I feel like if you're starting a show now, you better have a hook. You better have a name that's like one word or 2 words that tells you everything you need to know. Like you have to be way more specific. And it came up when you were still allowed to be kind of messy and figure it out. Like where it's like you didn't have to have everything with a promo campaign and social media handles and everything ready. Like it was just like, no, I'm making the show I want to hear. It sounds like this. So if you were going to make a show now, I don't think you can do that. I mean, I think like you can, but like you better just be doing it for the love of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we do it. I think we're past that. We're past that. Oh my God, are we gonna get somewhere now?
Yeah. Well, because there's something to be said for doing the thing because it needs to be done and because you like doing it. I mean, I was doing the same show for 6 years before the pandemic hit, and then suddenly people vibed with it, and the audience increased as much as it did exponentially. Like it increased exponentially, and it's the same show. It was good the entire time.
Right.
Some of it better than others, of course, but like I didn't like fundamentally rebrand or change what I was doing. It's just that like the show met the moment and provided value to people that were hurting and feeling disconnected and disassociated from this world that was so important to them. It happened to be like right place, right time, but it's also the right show. And, you know, like it's, but whatever, that could change tomorrow. You know, it doesn't matter. Like, what is it on? I don't know. Whatever you get your podcast on, like whatever the next thing is, it's get beamed directly to your brain implant on Brainer. I don't know. Like what is the thing tomorrow? It doesn't matter. Right. It's outlived like so many platforms already and will continue to outlive more. The show itself is what matters. And that's one of the reasons why doing it with no ads, no sponsors or anything is important to me, because that would, I'm not saying I wouldn't do a show that is that, but it wouldn't be that show. And that's important to me. And I don't expect anyone to follow suit. I'm not being like, hey, everybody, I'm doing this thing over here, follow the flag. It's literally like, no, I find ads on podcasts so detestable. I cannot hit that skip button fast. I will dislocate something trying to get to the skip button when I hear an ad anywhere, even on shows I like.
Yeah, I mean, my dream, of course,
personal animus,
sponsorship of something.
Great, money's great, awesome.
Yeah, I mean, something that I believed in, and something, you know, maybe somebody I knew, somebody that, you know, and I can just say, hey, you know, I have no problem selling things I really believe in. I buy
Earthquaker devices or something, or I don't even know. Like, look, and there's people that do that, and they make it work, and I'll respect them. I'm just saying, for me, it doesn't work, and it's not. I would never. The show has its own unique audience on YouTube now. I would never monetize it, because it's not there to be fucking monetized. That's the entire point. I'm like,
well, at a certain point, you got to ask, what are you paying for?
Right.
Exactly. You know, and that gets a little strange. It's like, what are you paying for? You know, who I am as a character, who this person is as a character. Are you paying for jokes? Are you, you know, and all of those things.
To get the name out there, sure.
Right.
I mean,
it's all those things is a little pinch away of insincerity. Of what exactly you're getting paid for. And I mean, it's one thing if it's like, hey, operating costs would be nice.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
You know, just the web sourcing, or, you know, a tip jar. Hey, you know,
that's why I did the Patreon. That's why I did the Patreon. It's literally one tier. It's $1 a month, advance access. Boom. You get it like 4 or 5 days before everyone else does. If you just can't wait, you want to hear it immediately, cool. That will cost you $1. And that helps me, you know, that brings enough money to like pay the internet bill and pay whatever the hell I've broken this week, and like all of the various things. Yeah. And, you know, and that's great. That's enough for me. That's enough for me, because I like being unbought. I like being unbroken. I like being undefeated, you know. For me, I feel like if you, and again, I understand there's people that are didactic about this, you know, Steve Albini and Mackay have their own take on things, but like it's important to me for it to be autonomous, and like to the point that the idea of changing that, it's not even a possibility. It would be a different show, and I'd be fine with doing a different show, especially if I didn't produce it. Hint, hint. But it's not what that show is,
right?
And for me, that's always important to have to have an ethos, right? And just like how Conan Neutron and the Secret Friends as a rock band, there's an ethos to it. And is it deeply inscrutable? Yes. Is it hard to understand? You better believe it is. But is it exciting and kind of crazy? Yes. Also yes. All those things can be yes at the same time. And it's almost a culmination of a lot of things, not the least of which is that there's no mystery left in the world. Every part of the creative process is now like on display, and like that's as part of the product same thing. No, I refuse that. And then also by the same token, it's becoming the thing that you want to see in the world, right? Which is to say, like, if you're going to be a shining light, then you better shine a light.
Right. Yeah.
Does anyone follow it? Doesn't matter. Do it because it needs to be done. I mean, it does matter, obviously. But...
Well, I think Matt and I would do best, like, if we were in another country and we could get a grant.
You mean like a civilized country that likes the arts? Yeah, that sounds great.
Awesome. That's all we need.
All you need is cash, the Ruddles.
Right.
Yeah,
but not America. That's not going to happen here.
Come on.
No. No, they're actually probably going to fine you more than likely in this country than they will finance you.
I know. What a country.
This is maybe the longest we've ever gone without talking politics.
Yeah, and it's in the back half actually, which is kind of a nice change of pace. Instead of being like 45 minutes of ranting about this, that, and the other, and then like, oh yeah, you have a record or something, right?
I'm kind of hoping it just if I ignore it, it goes away. I don't know.
Just vote. That's all you can do.
That's all you can do, really.
Make some noise.
Encourage others too, I guess, and trying to do that. But I mean, it's.
I feel like it's going to be hard to reach anybody that hasn't already been
reached.
Well, that's the world that we decided we like, right? We must like it because we refuse to change it. That's what we like. We like everybody to be in their own little cozy confirmation bias bubble.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's the way we like it. We like the algorithm deciding what we do or don't see. We don't do anything about it.
Yep. You get the government you deserve. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like we also are given these placebos, right? They're these placebos that are meant to keep you binge watching and keep you
satiated.
Yeah, like they keep any outrage you have limited to catharsis.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with catharsis, but in the absence of justice, people settle for catharsis every time.
Yeah,
and that's what people do. And like, what is there to say? Does that suck? Yes, that does suck.
And we do it all over the world. I mean, that would really be our idea. I mean, I've had so many sociology professors, and we tell you, just if you take all of the countries who are, really, really hate Americans, and I mean, you try to stamp that down by just giving them a couple cars in their driveway, food, money, all that. They get complacent. They get tired. With Westernization, they just don't get mad.
Yeah, I mean, like it's weird coming from the place of, well, and you guys, we're all about the same age, right? So it's like I feel like it's so anathema to the growing up when we did, of just like, as much as it's a slacker generation, this and that, except all the great things that the boomers said, right? It wasn't, and it never was.
No,
but the problem was we knew our stories would never be told, so we decided just to completely eschew mainstream media altogether. It was irrelevant.
Right.
It wasn't.
I'm going to do a non-sponsored podcast. Right. I don't need you.
We don't need you. We're going to do our own thing. And the thing now is that we do not have a monoculture anymore. So that seems like a weird thing to youngins. They don't understand that. But then also, everybody has a voice, and it's all at the same level. And most of it shouldn't be, frankly. But everybody has a voice, and it's all at the same level. And that's what we're dealing with now, which is a different set of problems. So now it's just like there's constant kicking up of dust all the time about everything, always.
Yep.
And, that's a drag. It sucks.
It's exhausting, too.
Okay, absolutely. The more I'm off of social media, the better. Like, I barely scroll anymore. There's a few people I'll check up on. And I know that means I'm not getting exposed to new things. But really, how many new things that are actually new things I'd be interested in am I being exposed to? Being exposed to products. I'm being exposed to meme pages. I'm being exposed to ads. I'm being exposed to like people that I'm like, that's annoying. And I know it's only showing that to me because it wants me to react and be like, this sucks. And I'm not going to do that. That's not what I choose to do with my life.
Yeah. Look at the viral video of the week right now. The hawk to a girl is.
I don't even understand what that is. I don't care. I've seen so many memes about it. I'm like, whatever that is. I don't
understand.
I am right there with you. I have no idea what it is, and I'm just like, I think I can
know
live
what it is,
knowing.
but I'm over it. But she's also my spirit animal.
Well, that's also like when you're out, because I've been out with Dead, right? I was out playing shows with Dead, and we recorded a record. There's no time for this crap. And so like, then it's like, what is this? What is everybody on about now? It's this now. I don't have any time for that. I'm sorry. I'm very busy. I'll make an appointment to give a shit about that in a year.
Right.
Yeah. What was it? I stirred up some mostly like-minded people recently. What was that? I can't even remember the name of it, but it was like a country song that pissed off a bunch of people. Well, there's always one of those popping up.
I was going to say which one.
And there was all the outrage coming over it, and I was just
was this in a small town or
it was that one. And I was just like, I can't even get pissed off about it. Like, I'm not even going to give it attention. I think the rest of you should not give it attention. this is give it attention and it gives it power. Just ignore it and let it go away.
It's like being pissed at an inclement weather condition that grows larger with more attention paid to it, where it's like, no, this is just, it'll pass.
Yeah, like Ghostbusters 2. It's the pink slime that they yell at
well, because that's what we talked about earlier about, like, is our good vibes important? Yes. And it's not that like people that are into it for like affirmation or acclamation or some kind of feeding of ego. That's a different thing entirely. But there is a little bit people that say that they aren't, some kind of belief engine. Like I get it, I guess. I don't quite understand that, because I think we can all accomplish more when we know that, like, hey, there's people deeply engaging with this. There's people that this means something to. And that's why it's always better. And for whatever reason, especially our generation was trained in sardonicism and insincerity, where we have to like coach it in some kind of like black, quote unquote, comedic terms. Well, it's like, no, all I'm hearing is like the hurt you have in your heart.
Exactly.
Right now is all, because you cannot even give a sincere compliment on something that means as much to you because you feel stupid. And again, that is a problem that this newer generation doesn't seem to have, which
it's weird.
Very glad for.
Yeah.
I don't understand it, but I love it.
Yeah.
Like, they have different problems. Don't get me wrong. They have more unique problems, but like in that, I'm like, fucking hey, youngins, go on.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. Because that's like how I am, because I've always been like, slacker generation. Who are you talking about?
Yeah,
know what I know?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. It's your generation that didn't save anything. And
no, we didn't get a chance to save anything. God damn it. That's the thing.
Still kept away from the levers of power.
Yeah.
Still.
Right. Where they're still like, no, not so fast, Gen X. And I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah. And
We're
looking
hitting
back at us like
age
that, it's like, and somebody, those good, and they just grew up and they did a whole bunch of foul things and they were doing drugs and running the streets. It's like, yeah, because we were all latchkey kids. Nobody gave a shit what we were doing.
Grew up in chaos as feral children.
It's like, well, you could do that in the 90s, but you can't do it now. It's like, you know why you could do a lot of those things in the 90s is because nobody gave a shit about anybody.
But our culture...
And
our culture was trained. We trained ourselves to ignore all that completely.
Exactly.
No matter how loud they shout about it, that it doesn't matter even a little bit. And that's the thing, is this newer generation doesn't understand. It's like, no, we have the ability to just, like, we filter out so much, it actually doesn't matter to us. And they don't have that. Because they don't have a monoculture, but what they have is constantly having to feel the emotions of the entire world at all times from everywhere, which is, again, a different set of problems. So they don't have the ability to regulate emotionality in that way and to not be part of a connected experience. It's real easy for us to not be a connected experience. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like, I had the internet in high school, dial up.
Yeah.
But it was like, in 20 minutes, I might see a tit. Who knows?
Maybe.
Crazy. I'm going to get my BBS system and play a game. It's a different thing than when you have a medium of connection that's exclusively used for bullshit marketing and sharecropping and utilizing people's information as a saleable commodity in their hand, that's with them all the time, that's regulating every aspect about their emotional experience. They don't have a filter. They have to learn to create their own filters. Whereas for us, it comes so naturally because we were never going to be given a shot.
Right.
Ever. So we had to make things within ourselves, and we had to make things within our communities that meant more to us, that would never be understood by this monoculture, because we're the last ones with a monoculture.
And that's true, right? And
once again, thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
No, but like, I think it gives us an element of, we really do not, like you mentioned, we don't give a fuck.
No, it's not. It's not like we're saying we don't give a fuck. No, we actually don't care. But it's not that we don't care about anything. We care about lots of stuff very deeply.
Absolutely.
But just like all of these things that, what's your reaction to this? My reaction is, I don't give a fuck if that lives or dies. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me at all. And it's an easy reaction. Whereas with a lot of youngins, they have a harder time engaging with disengagement, if that makes sense.
It's
like,
And I know I have that with my kid, just like, this isn't worth your energy, man. Just trust me on this. Do not
walk on. Right. Exactly. Just to like, this will, it is literally not worth your time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know it's hard to see
forget it,
right
Jake.
now,
It's
but
Chinatown.
trust me, it's not worth it, man. Just
Yeah.
and it's not even like, moral high ground shit. It's just like, dude, you're gonna fucking put yourself in
it's self-preservation, man. Like, this world will wreck you how it is now, because how we are experiencing the world at large is not how the human mind is meant to experience anything.
Yeah.
Let alone when people are using it in manipulative ways, usually to sell things or extract information or resources. It's not how human minds are meant to be at this moment in time. Maybe there'll be implants in the future where you can be. Great. Sounds awesome. But but I think that
you try to deal with all of that at once right now. What's really going on? You're going to go mad if you have, half a brain to think about it. And it's like,
if you have any empathy whatsoever, it will. This world will level you in like an hour and a half.
Yeah. It was like, well, I mean, and last time I was at your house about it with my youngest, and your wife yelled at me and said, "Don't you ever take anything seriously?" And my youngest was like, "Yeah, he doesn't." And I was like, "No, unless it's really serious, like,
You'd be like, well, yeah, but yeah.
I don't know. I mean, what you guys consider serious,
But I think it's also interesting, though, just like the flip side, like talking about how this generation has that different vibe. But I think maybe some of it is also, to a degree, like, even if we're not saying it consciously, our generation is producing those kids, right? So what part of us is like, okay, this was really pretty fucked up about my generation coming up, and how, we were just fucking feral, man. We were allowed to be feral. And
our coping mechanisms maybe even aren't emotionally healthy, right?
Oh,
right.
absolutely
And
not.
realizing that and going, man, I want better than that for my kid.
Right. But see, the things that like I did was, and also I had kids young, but it was like, I'm going to buy them a Power Wheels truck because I never had one.
They're like, I don't care about this at all.
No, whatsoever.
Like, okay.
Yeah. Like my oldest didn't get a driver's license, just talking about that because of the interconnectivity with social media and everything till after 18. It's like when I turned 16, I wanted that license as fast as I could get it.
Yeah, let's get the fuck out.
I need out of here. But now I was like, well, I got my friends here. We're playing Xbox on camera together.
Oh, they like it.
Yeah. I'm like, I just go to their house and play Xbox. So what's the difference?
Yeah, it's different places, but it's the same thing. And that's a different thing. What's the thing that can annoy, some from our generation the most? Like, oh yeah, what's my rebellion? I'm just on the internet on this thing, on this corporate thing. What? It's a corporate thing. Why are you? That's not cool. That's not rebellion. Oh no, but it pisses you off.
Touche.
Well, okay. Game, set, and match. Youngin. But I mean, also, like, people only know what their exposure to, and so I think there's some value towards, communitarian world building for something like Caterwaul in that same way, where it's like, no, it's a physical thing that exists, and you can see. First of all, you have to see something like that in person, I think, to really get the magnitude and the scope and scale of what it is, but also to like understand that you can do it. Yeah. Like, what's the thing with Sex Pistols, right? Everyone that most people weren't at the shows, but everyone that did started a band.
Yeah,
because they were like, oh, I guess this anyone can do this. All right, cool, I will too. Oh, there's no one around to tell me no. Great.
That's even a claim to fame for a lot of them now, like Billy Idol and Susie and all.
Sure,
I was there.
Well, and a lot of it's great, and like a lot of it's
cool.
I like it better than the Sex Pistols itself, even. But like,
I'm
just saying that you have to like see the thing be done to know that you can, and that goes back, and that comes back to what I do with Conan Neutron and the Secret Friends. That like at the very beginning, I was kind of at a crossroads where I was like, okay, this is very clearly my last band, as I think of a band being the same people in a room playing on Tuesday or Wednesday to like go like record songs, play songs around the country, so on and so on. I can't do that in that same way or capacity anymore, and I need to figure something out. And what I also was trying to figure out at the same time is like, well, I feel like there's been something lacking in myself for these years, that the music I made is good, the work that I've done is good, but it's just been me trying to give back something to this world and community and to creativity that has changed my entire worldview and defined my existence. and it's not good enough. And that's what I had to contend with. It was like, and I've been doing it a long time, and it's not good enough. And so I need to find something with myself to be good enough and to understand why things, again, didn't fail, but just wasn't where it needed to be, and create the kind of Conan Neutron I need to create to continue to exist and to justify existing as a creative entity, at least. And that's how Secret Friends came to be, right? And it literally started off as like, I'm going to write a record on my own. I'm going to record it, even if it's no good. At least you can say that I did it. Turns out it was good. It turns off it like started this like avalanche of other stuff that love, like it or love it. It's pretty hard to ignore. Even an avalanche, you have to at least get out of the way. Oh my God, Christ, another avalanche. Okay. Let's get out of the way. And all of that is just, it's been very, people don't like hearing the explanation that, again, divine perspiration instead of divine inspiration. No, it's literally just work. It's just putting in the work through it and giving up some of the hangups of just allowing yourself to be precious about things, or allowing yourself to be too meticulous, like too protective over your creative exploits, and to realize that the larger path and the larger journey is much more important than the individual race, and to know that and also be able to feel that.
Yeah.
Back to what I'm saying, that there's records. It's like, I objectively know it's a great record. There's some songs that are on those records. I'm like, that song's fine. It does what it needs to do in the record, but it's like, oh, is that going to be your elevator pitch entry for? No, of course, definitely.
And they can't all
That's
be
exactly what it needs to do in that record to do the thing.
Right.
And
that's just
also, we find those people don't listen to records at all. They just listen to the top 20 on Spotify. These are the most played. Okay, then that's your experience of it, and I stand by all of it.
And it's all how it's really just like you're saying, how we perceive art and how we judge art or any of these things, just like terms like a masterpiece. Trying to think that one thing needs to stand out more than other things to be your thing, or legacy, or terms like, those things that are in a lot of cases embedded in capitalism. And in a lot of cases just based in like a system that we have for quantifying or qualifying art in our society. Because like you say, people it goes all the way from genre naming all the way up to things like that. Well, this was his best work. And it's like, well, I don't know.
Oh, this is known. Yeah. Is it?
And especially with music. I mean, it's so subjective. I have songs that mean so much to me on certain records that everybody could just chuck in the trash, but they have just a certain, subjective meaning to me. Is extremely important. We've even sought out bands to be on the show that, I'm sure nobody has heard of, and they were hard to track down.
Right.
Just because they made songs that I'm like, oh my God, if I could talk to that guy, if I could just pick his brain for 20 minutes, I'd be so happy. And that's really what it was. And it made me happy, and, made Matt happy, and we all had a fun time. I mean, it's like, and I know you can't do that when you're trying to make a career, but it's trying to shoehorn, I guess, music into that system that you're right. We need to change the way we look at it. We really do.
I don't pay the bill.
Yeah.
You have to figure out insanity. Because like I said, I was looking at things. I was looking at every song like, oh, this is a museum exhibit in the Smithsonian. Right? It's like, no, it really isn't. Like, lucky if it's a museum exhibit of the AM/PM. I mean, no, it just isn't. And it's okay. And it doesn't mean that a song or a record didn't achieve what it's meant to do because it wasn't like the worldwide success that we all expect to be because of Almost Famous and popular forms of media, usually from boomers that come from that.
Yeah,
that it's okay for things to just be like, look, it's just part of the journey, man. And that's actually, as a modern construct, I hate, first of all, the push for constant quote unquote content creation is repulsive to me.
Yeah,
absolutely repulsive, because I don't make content, I write music.
Yeah,
and that is an important distinction. But that said, my mindset has evolved to I'm way less precious now, which doesn't mean I'm not engaged. Like when I make a record, everything on this is like the way it is meant to be. This is the perfect embodiment of wisdom and boldness that it's supposed to be. It's serving the purposes of what it needs to be. But if it doesn't engage with people, that's okay, because I'm already on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And I'm already onto whatever that's supposed to. And sometimes it's a weird concept.
Mm.
We talked about like dangerous nomenclature, coming up with the song titles with a band that sounds nothing like us and writing songs to the song title. Great. Adult Prom. We cover each one of the other songs. We do a collab song on each one. Great. We're dancing other sides of the prom building. Sure, whatever. We're dancing together. Great. And all of these things are super important to me because like that's what drives me creatively. That like I could tell you. There's the next 4 or 5 things that are going to be, like some of which are like, holy crap, that sounds like a lot of work. Which if I ever stopped and thought about how much work all of this was, like again, this goes back to what we started with, right? I might not do it. I'd be like, oh yeah, right. That sounds terrible. that is a 1,000-mile walk in the desert for an ice cream cone. You're right. But I don't seriously because I know that for me the juice is always going to be worth the squeeze because the art itself is the destination.
So hopefully you're taking the weekend off.
Right.
The rest of it anyway. What's next? What's next week? When you just can't stand it no more.
Slow. It's a slow for me. Summer. And Protonic is back at it. I have a bunch of cool stuff coming up from Protonic Reversal. There's since the 10th anniversary episode, which ended up being the last interview that Steve Albini gave, I guess. So
wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. I've done one episode since coming back with Jake from iFlies, but there's a bunch of stuff on deck for that. Not a lot right now. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be happening in the fall.
Okay.
So there's a bunch of Secret Friends touring in the fall. There's some East Coast, there's some Midwest, there's some West Coast. I don't think Way of the Neutron is going to be out this year. But I also didn't think Adult Prom was going to be out fall of last year either. I was like, nope, it's going to be spring in 2024. And it was.
Yeah.
So I guess you never know. I'll be excited when people can hear it. But
yeah,
I'm also fine with waiting. I mean, if I got hit by a bus tomorrow, that would suck.
Yeah, it would.
But
it would.
I would have the best record I've ever made done. And still picking through thousands of photos for the cover, but it would be releasable, and that fulfills me in a very strange, kind of dark way,
Yeah.
But don't worry, it ain't gonna be the last.
I still want you to watch. Look both ways before you cross the street tomorrow. But
I will. Yeah.
Okay.
I do want to live. Let's not get it twisted.
All right.
But there is a weird kind of fulfillment of like, hey, if this was it, like pretty good.
Yeah.
It's nice,
I'm not done, but if this was it.
No, every now and then we have those kinds of moments, and I think it's good to have
you need to be
those kinds of
satisfied
moments
every
where it's
once
just
in a
like,
while.
you know what, I'm okay where I'm at right now.
Yeah, feel good
if anything, just satisfaction. Maybe not complete fulfillment, but just satisfaction is good for a night. It's what I strive for.
I can tell you that we are actively planning something for next year that will be something I have never done in my entire life, and I'm very excited about it.
I am excited to find out.
Because I don't want to jinx it, but
okay.
But I'm all about it, and that's for me as much as anything. It's about pushing myself to find that challenge and to find something within myself that hopefully is not found wanting, but push myself to be who I need to be.
Right on. Cool. Well, I am super intrigued and excited to see what that is.
It's going to be a Broadway musical.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a Broadway.
Here's Spider-Man the musical. Here's Conan Neutron the musical. It opened up to some of the worst reviews a musical's ever had. It only lasted a week.
Followed Spider-Man's journey.
Financial debacle.
A horrible commute. Matt and I am.
You can make like fake bad reviews for that. It would be great. Just like plays off all the different songs.
That's a good idea. Matt and I are going to a show tomorrow. I do have
more like mild antics. Thank you.
But I do have to get to bed pretty soon. I got to go to Kansas City tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we're going to a show. We're going to see the Flaming Lips, the Uptown.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, I've never seen them. Matt's seen them a couple times, but it's a bucket lister for me. I love Lips. I'm looking forward to it.
I've not seen them in a very long time, but I saw them on the what was one after Zerika? Come on.
Matt would know if anything.
The big one. The one that was like Soft Bolton. I saw them on the Soft Bolton tour. And I saw them with Ween and the Liars.
Wow.
About 4 or 5 laters with the Yoshimi.
Yeah, they're doing
they're doing Yoshimi.
They're doing the whole Yoshimi.
And then some of your favorite hits afterwards.
It's a good show.
Yeah, looking forward to that. But man, Matt, anything you want to add? Anything?
Man, I just thank you again.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. We had a great time.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for all you do, and the wonderful music you're putting into the world. And
there's a lot more of it coming.
I'm looking forward to it.
And believe me, I'll pester you about it when it's out.
Yeah, we're going on.
Please do.
We'll catch it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Her words. Her words.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody, listening for Undetermined the Podcast. Special guest Conan Neutron of Conan Neutron, the Special Friends, Platonic Reversal, making some music with Dead, Action Chief, so many things.
Caterwaul,
the hardest.
Moving Extravaganza too. I never remember to plug Moving Extravaganza.
Oh, Moving Extravaganza, a great show. And
you guys will get bummed out when I don't mention it. I'm like, wow, I got like a million other things, dude.
We'll put that on the front. We'll just clip it and
just repeat it like 10 times.
All over the internet at Conan Neutron on damn near everything, right? Come
there you go.
On that.
But yeah, second or no, the hardest working man in show business since James.
Yeah, for sure.
Conan Neutron. Thanks for joining us, brother. It's good to see you. It was so great to have see you up there at Caterwaul too, and check out all the bands from Caterwaul, the videos, etc. It was just such an amazing time, and realize that people worked very hard to put that together for you. But go next year, everybody should.
Go.
Yes. Yeah. We're really considering if it can all swing making this a yearly thing.
A pilgrimage.
Yeah.
I got stopped multiple times. I don't know why they stopped me. The fact that I'm a visible member of the organizing committee, but be like, hey, we come out to this every year, and it's a huge part of our routine. We look forward to it every year. I'm like, wow, cool. Thank you. Yeah. I need to go make sure this toilet's unclogged now. Thank you. Not true.
Melanie looked like she was stressing quite a bit there.
We all have our moments. We all have our moments in both ways. That's what I mean. It's all a work in progress.
But yes, and look forward to a slew of shows too. There's a lot of guests coming up that we've met from the shows.
Oh, yeah, were you doing booking at Caterwaul for different?
Oh, we were working.
Invites.
Working the room.
Yeah, invites were flying anyway. And everybody that we just casually mentioned it to is all about being on the show.
Hell yeah, that's what it's all about.
Well, a lot of too for a few Forbidden Place artists here and there, and then
that's right.
And not only that, just how cool everybody was, and meeting them in person, like those from Heat Death and Cronkman, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. So Chief Tail, we actually met.
There's something to be said for in-person connection.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Chief Tail, we actually met the day after at Electric Fetus. We went to the record store before we.
Oh, really? They were there.
They were there. Yeah. And we had I think I was wearing like a Caterwaul hat or something, like that beanie. They were like, "Hey guys," and I didn't recognize them.
Social signifier, right? Yeah, sure.
Hey, how are you?
I remember last year, pretty shortly after Caterwaul, Brainiac played Empty Bottle. In Chicago. I went down there with Joe Cannon. I was wearing the shirt I'm wearing now, which is the
I love that shirt.
That's so dope.
The 2023 logo shirt. The guy at the door in the bottle was like, "Hey, Caterwaul, that's that thing in Minneapolis, right?" I said, "Yes, it is." Like, yeah, that thing's really cool. I'm like, "Cool, man, thanks." And then and I wasn't gonna say anything else. And then Joe's like, he's being very humble, but he throws that. He's like, "Oh shit, snap!" I'm like, "Well, yeah, but it's not about us. It's not about like we only have had our names published with it because the PR guy was like, look, it's dumb of you to not do this. Like, you will get less coverage if you attempt to be like a residence thing. Like, people will just not cover it. You have to do it." I'm like, "Fuck, okay, fine." And it's reluctant for us to put our names to it because people want to have like we almost expect like that humanized element of who are the people that are making this happen.
Mm-hmm.
But by the same token, it's not about us. It's not about us. It's about the thing. And I'm always about making it about the thing, whether it's bands, podcasts, whatever. So I kind of bristle against that internally, but I don't ever want to be the story for Caterwaul. I want it to be like, it's, hey, that's Caterwaul. That's a cool thing.
No, don't think I didn't notice that you put yourself in the middle of the lineup for the.
Oh, it'd be very easy to be like, oh, what's the best band here? Cool. We're right before them.
That'd be mine.
I mean, there's definitely more advantageous places for us to be, but
sure,
it's
well, I can tell you,
give myself a 40-minute set, and we only played 33 minutes, so we could reclaim some time on the table that I correctly assumed would be lost with changeovers. So, but that's inside baseball.
outside of the gigs, outside of the venues, as we were going around, you got to eat breakfast, you got to eat, lunch, dinner, etc. We're going around, but most, just about everybody. Well, I mean, they would come up to us for, wearing the Caterwaul gear. Oh, is that going on right now? Hey, that's a really cool spot. Yeah, I did that last year. It was a lot of fun. So, I mean, the people, nobody went out of their way in Minneapolis to say, "Oh, I hated that fucking."
Oh, that stuff sucks.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody went.
That's how you know you made it when you get people that are vocal haters. Like,
right.
Oh, why does it suck? They won't book you. Okay.
Yeah, but everybody went out of their way to come up just to comment. And they're yeah, I think even though it's not a Minneapolis thing, I think you're very well accepted there. And
there should be dozens of these things. There should be in every area. Let's just make a complete circuit of them that you never have to touch corporate venues or fake contained outrage and meaningless tumult signifying nothing with art ever again.
Yes. Wow. Yeah, that's a great quote. I think we should end it on that.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not going to top it. That's for goddamn sure.
Anything sounds shitty after that. So let's just wrap it up.
Thanks. Follow that shit. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks, Conan, for coming on. I had a great time. Matt, I'll see you tomorrow.
All right.
Yeah, about noonish. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.